you know how they say, you're the devil in someone's story? Just meaning everybody has a different perception, right? Like some people like you, some people don't. Some people feel like you're the greatest, others think you're the worst. So the same person can be perceived many different ways based on the person perceiving them. And it's like, be careful what you wish for. I'm not even sure of the whole message that's coming through. It's like along these lines where it's like, make sure it's your perception, right? Like sometimes people will, instead of using their own tool for themselves and deciding for themselves what's right and wrong, what feels best and what doesn't, etc., they'll base their opinion based on other people's opinions or experiences. And so they're just shorting themselves. And we've all done this, right? Like if somebody said to you, oh, stay away from them, blah, 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 and they're a good friend of yours and you don't have any real interest invested, you might be like, all right, no problem, take that advice and move along your merry way. I'm trying to figure out how to say, I don't understand everything they're showing me. It's like this idea, I think, and then it's the idea of, but be careful because of what I just said. Like you could make a wrong step when you're basing your thoughts on others' opinions and others' experiences and others' perceptions. This is why, to me, always you gotta think for yourself. Yet, they keep showing the spot in Revelations about this. It's something like, but once, it's like if people deemed me the devil, right? Like, and they kept pushing against me, but it was based on so many other people's perceptions or opinions or understandings or experience, but not on their own. And then it's like you get cast away, but forevermore. It's like, isn't it one chance, two chance, and then done? I think that's how it goes in Revelations. He's around and then he comes back and then he's shut out forevermore. So it's like one time, two time, three time gone, which is funny. It's three time, like we've talked about so many times. Or fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. This kind of thing, this kind of mentality, I think is what they're showing. And then, but then it's like you come out of whatever illusion you were under. Again, if you weren't operating from your own heart and utilizing your own mind, you can come out of an illusion and be like, oh, fuck. But too late, right? This is the idea of like, if you aren't in charge of your own mind, making your own decision based on from your heart, right? Then you could be the idea of screwing yourself out of your own blessing. Where it's like, why would you screw yourself out of your own blessing? Like, why would you choose to call that person the devil when you hadn't experienced that and then perpetuated that lie? Because they wanted to belong. They wanted to be part of the crowd. They wanted to be part of the greater than, right? At that point, the larger, oh, that's interesting. Sorry. Okay, so they're looping together another image and another spot. They took, sorry, I'm really not sure what the straight message is here, but they had taken me to another spot, like somebody's going to trick you. It's like, it's going to seem like they're on your team. This is why you just have to stand in your truth. End of story. Stand in your truth, no matter if you have 0 on your side or a gajillion on your side. You can't be doing it based on those outside yourself. But if you do, you can get screwed. It was taking me to a spot where they did that. They said, everybody who worships bAbBLE, meaning Satan, come together. They must come. But don't let anybody in here who worships Jesus. And so it was like this idea of like good and bad, right? Like they were labeling, and I guess somebody had done something bad, but they were trying to trick them and be like, oh yeah, I'm on their team. We're going to all worship Satan. It was like this, just to collect. It's like to be on the side of the enemy as a way to trick the enemy. And then it collected all of the enemy into the temple or the location or whatever, and then set them on fire, burned them all up. And so this is why it's like, just stand in your truth. There's no right parties there, by the way. The way they're showing it to me, because it's like, first of all, who's the judge and jury here, right? Like, no human, don't get involved. It's like justice is karma, is law of attraction. It's a natural cause and effect. It happens. Like, we don't need to get involved, but we do need to love ourselves and stand in our truth. There's something interesting they're showing me here, and I'm not exactly sure how to. It's like a lot of times people don't get the full story. Can you see how these all are wrapping together? Yeah, that's true. It's like sometimes people will ask me things and I'll just give them the answer, but it's not the full picture. It's not the full story. But I also recognize they don't want the full picture. They don't want the full story. They don't want to understand. They just have in their mind what's right and what's wrong. And there's no ends, ifs, buts about it. And so they cut out the details that change everything. This is just so interesting how they're showing this to me, because it had been coming through this way, but they hadn't shown me at this angle or this, perception. Okay, sorry. So help me get it out. So in following that same line of thinking, I'll give them the answer, but I know it's the truth. It's the end answer. It's the cut to the chase reality of it. And I know they look at that as bad, and I know they make their judgment right then and there. They don't ask for further explanation. They don't ask for the circumstances. They don't ask for anything. And technically, it's just through my perception of what it boiled down to anyway, where hearing the details, the boiled down version could be skewed another way. And yet, because of my beliefs of right and wrong as well, for me, I still boil it down. Even though it paints me worse, I still boil it down that way, because I am cut clear and dry on things. Some things, other things, no, but others, yes. And so it's like, these are the people that don't want to understand. They don't want to hear it. This is this and this is that, and end of story. And they make their judgments based on such, and they move along based on such, with that almost false information, and spread that. And it's like, it is what it is, like, that's the idea of, this is so interesting how they're showing this and painting this. Maybe I'll go into more detail or personal. It'll maybe be easier, but on another one. And so then, yes, then it's like, so just keeping me as that example, then they could go around spreading that I was the devil. But had they heard the whole story from A to Z, if they knew the whole truth of it, I'm not sure that they would paint it that way. And they probably would be horrified knowing the whole A to Z. And then all of a sudden the devil's the God, right? Like the angel. It's like the bottom's the top, or the top's the bottom, based on this, And so it's like, it is through everybody's perception and what they're choosing. And be careful that you're not judging another, because we don't know the full story. We really never, ever, ever know the full story. And even when you hear, like, just say it's two parties, even when you hear the story of party one and the story of party B, or start with party two, whatever, it's never the full thing, because it's only filtered through their perception, their understanding, their truth, and so it's like, it's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? For us, for day-to-day people, right? I'm not talking about the justice system. I'm talking about the 3D reality of logistics. Yes, all that has to be worked out the way it's worked out and the way it's been decided. I'm suggesting for you on your day-to-day life, be very careful of these subtleties, and people get swept up into them all the time. And it's unnecessary, because if you're loving yourself and focusing on yourself and for your highest and greatest good, you don't get swept up in that stuff. But you can then hear and see those that have and learn from it, right? Because we all had at one point, you're familiar with that story from probably a grade school experience or a high school experience, and you hopefully learn those lessons then, like, oh, I see what happened here, right? And we're so quick to jump to decision making, and often the question is why. It's not always necessarily about their own judgment of right and wrong. It's more about the judgment of the masses. They just want to be on the, quote, winning team. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so same thing, stories told. The mass majority picks the side of A, and they're demonizing B. And that's the rhetoric that everybody's going around with. And you can hear how vile and nasty they make B out to be, and they speak so terribly. So you're like, well, shit, I want to be on the nasty person's team or the group's team because they're so nasty. I don't want to be on their bad side. So it doesn't even matter what the rhetoric is, doesn't even matter what the story is. They'll fall in line with the mass majority or the most vile side, just so they're not the target of the vile side. And so it's like, you got to be careful with this kind of stuff, because you see it happening all the time, but with adults too, who live with that fear. Because it's back to this coming from what can they get, or think they're being shielded from. They'll snuggle in with the enemy. Well, you snuggle in with the enemy, and it's back to that story where, okay, everybody's on this team. Everybody run into this temple. We're going to have a big party and celebrate. They lock all the doors and burn it down. It's that idea where it's like, you got to be careful of this stuff. And it's just like it's not okay for the people who burnt them down to do that either. They didn't have the right to be that judge. Yet this is what's happening as these teams and these deciding and who's right and who's wrong. And it's this bickering and fighting, and you can exhaust yourself, and it's like, don't bother. Drop all those ropes. Don't be dependent on outside yourself to belong, to be validated, to be accepted, to be protected, right? I think that's probably part of this bigger message is like, good people can get in with the wrong crowd thinking they're going to be protected based on what I just said. They're afraid if they're not with that group, they're against that group. And who wants to be against that nasty group? Well, who the fuck wants to be with that nasty group? But they don't, for some reason, see that. And it's out of fear. It's out of fear that they'll get hurt otherwise. And it's like, well, that's the work that needs to be done, right? You need to love yourself. You need to align with yourself and then be connected to unconditional love. Who cares what happens in the 3D physical, right? Like, yes, stuff's going to happen. But if you're aligned with your higher self and unconditional love, you're more protected than you realize, because it is all an illusion. It's part of the game. Are you able to see through the illusion? Are you able to see through these games that are being played? Or are you participating in the game and getting swept all around? We've all been in that game, and to me, it hurts. It does knot up your mind. It does cause confusion and delusion, because you don't know up from down, right from wrong, left from right. It's so confusing, and it tangles up quickly. It's like you lose your intuition, you lose your alignment, you lose, because you're turning your back on yourself. You're not trusting yourself. You're not loving yourself. You're not honoring yourself. You're afraid of yourself, right? It's like you don't believe that you can love you or protect you, or, and I guess that's the idea of like, you don't think you can protect you because you're so visually 3D based that you think it's just you, right? You don't recognize, the connection your higher self has with all of the universe, right? And yet that's part of the illusion, right? Like we feel like we're standing alone when we're never, ever, ever alone. We're never alone. And See, that's the thing. It's like they teach you that in Catholicism, and I do think a lot of times it's meant to be heard that right way, like in a comforting, safe way that you're totally protected. There's nothing to fear because it's all an illusion. And yet, sometimes you can hear it the wrong way, and when you hear you're never alone and there's always eyes watching, the way they sometimes say it, it's creepy or it's scary or it's disturbing. And it's many a factors play in there. Who's saying it, how it's resonating, where you're at, how it's resonating, where you're coming from, where they're coming from, yada, yada, yada. But I'm just thinking how funny it is, because I know for a long time when I had heard that in grade school, when they would tell us things like that, it was kind of disturbing, like, oh my God, I can't do anything. There's always somebody. And so then it's like, well, no, it's not meant to add fear. And yet it did. And a lot of the way it was explained or portrayed, and maybe it was also a lot of how, where I was resonating at that point, it just never felt good, never felt right, and it did add fear. It didn't add comfort or love. And we've been through those stories so many times. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of that, because I still don't necessarily know that it seems like there's many layers of lessons in this one, but it was all jumbled together. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.